Welcome back to Framingham Today. Again, I'm Barry Bograd along with my co-host Dennis Giambetti, and I feel like we're back home. This is a place that is a destination place for most of the people in Framingham and beyond. And with us is the entrepreneur, the impresario of La Cantina on Route 135 on the Framingham-Ashland line, Lee Mencaboni. Lee, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Welcome,
Thank
Lee.
you, Dennis.
Nice to see you.
Lee, you know, it's interesting. Throughout the years, and I think I overheard it's going to be 69 years that you guys
May, yeah,
have been
this
in
May.
business?
May 8th will be our 69th
In May.
anniversary, yeah.
And throughout the years, you've had some competition on this side, somewhere along the line. And as the dust has cleared, Dennis, looks like there's one guy standing, at least for an Italian restaurant standpoint. And I once asked you, how come? I mean, it just, you know, there are a million other places. Why you, and why, you know, is it still by everybody's recommendation, the best place to go? What do you feature that other people don't, and why are you still standing?
I can't speak to outside my four walls, Barry, but you know, my philosophy has always been, and I've used this example before, illustration. The business is like a three-legged stool. You have to have value, you have to have consistency, and you have to have quality. If any of those are missing, that'll topple the stool. It has to be a perceived value, and it has to be consistent, and you have to have a quality product. So that's what I've done. That's what I've tried to do. Now, I can only speak for myself,
Right.
you know, here.
But no, you haven't been here many times.
All your
Having
life.
grown up in this neighborhood. I know what Lee has brought to that table. I mean, he is always there. He manages this restaurant very well. He knows what's going on. He's not an absentee landlord. He's not an absentee owner. He's here every day. He's checking all of the different varieties and operations that are going on. So he's very hands-on, so he keeps a pulse of it. And that's why I think over the long haul, he has been able to do that, because he does things right, and he requires that his help and the business is run correctly. And he has great staff.
Yeah, great people.
And his
And they stay.
and his daughter.
And they
They
stay.
stayed. My daughter Jen, she
good
couldn't make
job.
it here tonight. She would love to have been part of our interview, but
You know, I teased you last time. We were on a couple years ago, and I teased you last time, and we talked about. Actually, I think we did some shooting upstairs in your office, but which also doubled as where you lived.
yeah.
And I asked Lee tonight. I said, "Are you still?" Because we're going to show you some unbelievable renovations and updating of the whole facility here. But I asked him, "Are you still living upstairs?" and he said to me,
No, I graduated. I'm 20 yards away now, right across the hall.
he's in the next building, next door. So, and you know, Dennis, you're right. And the word that stuck with me that we talked about 2-3 years ago, whenever we did the initial show, was consistency. You know, always know if you want a good meal, you want a solid meal and a tasty meal, you come here, and you can tell by, you know, the lines out the door and the amount of business that you do.
Yeah.
You know, we have the history. Although you might want to just briefly, just a quick précis of the history, because we have a 20-minute segment here, and I want to cover upstairs.
Sure.
The history of it. Your mom and
right behind us. I don't know if the cameras can pick it up, but there's a couple of great pictures right there. My
Fanny?
opening day, 1946. It was a grocery store here, and where we're sitting right now was one of the parking spaces outside the building.
Yep.
This was an addition here. So in 1946, it began as a supermarket. In
Right.
fact, it was one of the first. It hit a national magazine that did a write-up, because my father had put some windows right here that people could sidewalk shop. They could do that, you know, and there's a picture of the interior of the grocery store right there. So the walls are all full of the history of the place. I'm very fortunate that my father's side and my mother's side were picture takers. We have a lot of pictures. I've got hundreds on the walls, and I've got hundreds more in boxes. So 1946, the grocery store. My mother cooking in the back. They had a little stove, and they worked a lot of hours, 15, 16 hours a day, sometimes more. Living right upstairs, but always here. So she would cook sometimes in the back. The aroma of the chickens or the sausages or something. My father, being the entrepreneur that he always was, started to see the value of what she was doing. People would say, oh, that smells good. He started to actually sell Mrs. Mancaboni's spaghetti sauce back then. And, before long, roast chickens and sausages. And the next thing you know, half the grocery store turned into the spaghetti house. The west side of the building, he put a wall up, still held on to the grocery store a little bit to test the waters and see. Yeah, I think it was a year later, the whole thing became a restaurant. They changed the name to La Cantina. And it's interesting how it got the name La Cantina, too. There was a salesman who came in talking to my father, and he said, the Spaghetti House. What kind of a name is that? The Spaghetti. So we could be the Spaghetti House today.
So that's what it actually was called originally.
It was the Spaghetti House, but my father, he said to my father, he said, you need a name that sings.
La Cantina!
Yeah, and that's it. And it came out with La Cantina. And that's how it got the name.
That's what. Fast forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip over how successful it is as it's been. You decided to, you created downstairs for functions. But it wasn't big enough, it wasn't what you really wanted, and somehow you said...
It's a nice room, but, it's a very nice room, and we've renovated it. But, Barry, speaking to what you said, in years past there was good competition here and a lot of business on the south side of Framingham, which was good for everybody.
Right.
I have to tell you that my business took a dive when I became the only one. Yeah, because there's not enough coming this way, not enough attractions on this side of town.
Right.
But that being said, the restaurant business is hard and it is tough, and it's harder to get people on this side of town.
Right.
In my mind, I thought, well, a function facility draws people no matter where it is. And, we had a taste of functions downstairs, smaller and very nice.
Yeah, we did some political stuff down there. We've done other things. I participate, retirement parties.
Yep. I guess basically it's just I saw the value of it. And, who at 65 years old is saying, well, what are you doing? If I hear that question one more time, what are you? Well, I have I have my family, too, to think of. And I just thought that it was the right thing to do at this point in time. Was
it harder to do than you thought?
Oh yeah,
and I know the answer because it took longer than you thought it was.
It took a long time, but I think I was a novice too at that type of at the extent of the renovation was bigger than I realized and had ever done before. So that's it. I mean, functions are, as far as I'm concerned, the future.
What are you catering to? No pun intended, the catering, but you do that also.
We do catering, to anybody who'll buy.
Right. But what type of functions do you envision, and what have you've been open since, I guess, May?
Mid-May we opened, and to be honest with you, I'm very pleasantly surprised. Thankfully, the second half of the year with that opened, worked wonders for the bottom line.
Yeah, good.
Because, when you're doing a project of this size, everything goes that way. Right, it goes out, nothing coming in.
And you're renovating so that it's disturbing inside a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think overall a couple of years of slowed down business and so forth. But anyway, we've done 3 or 4 bar mitzvahs. We've done 6 or 7 weddings already, which is a surprise to me. I didn't think we would be a wedding destination, but we are. We're becoming that.
And how many people do you seat?
We can do, it depends on the function too, but 90 to 100 is a good number.
Yeah, if you do a buffet versus a plated meal,
or
is
a wedding,
that different?
Dance floor.
Wedding, you need the dance floor.
You need a lot, head tables, dance floors, all that. So, it goes up and down. But
somewhere between 90 and 100 would be your sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's Lee has been a great corporate citizen also. I mean, he's done a lot for the Framingham Public Schools. He has a lot done for a lot of places in Framingham that he's helped an awful lot of people out. And so he has done a great job in renovating. And it's just this renovation is one of many that you've made in the downtown, in the downstairs restaurant portion of it.
I got to keep moving.
You expanded it more. You've changed the bar to a different location in your expansion and so forth. So you've done a lot of different investments in the south side of town.
Sure.
For that, maybe speak a little bit about some of the things that you expanded in the restaurant itself over the last couple of years.
Oh my goodness. Well,
You changed the front.
yeah, I mean, in years past, like I said to you before, this was a parking lot. And I think it was, I'm trying to think the year now when we did it. I think it's 20 years ago now, late 80s, late 89, yeah, when we actually expanded this out. And at that time we had that big horseshoe bar. Because, prior to that, I had a little 2x4 waiting area. And if I've learned anything over the years, the most important thing for a business of this type is parking. So over the years, I was able to pick up pieces here and there.
Across the street.
So that solved that problem. But once people park, they have to have a comfortable place to wait. So that's why we added on here, and it's been a life of lessons, hopefully learned,
But it's all been positive eventuality. Positive
you keep
outcomes.
going, but like someone once said to me, you can only take care of what's within your four walls.
Yeah.
I cannot control the economy. I can't control what's happening out there.
Right.
And so if you run a tight ship, no matter what happens, you should be able to. We've had some hard times like everybody else. A lot of my friends back in the late 80s went belly up,
And it's 7 days a week.
Huh?
It's 7 days a week also.
Well, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
tough.
anything that's open 7 days a week, there's tremendous pressure because it's never away from you.
Yeah, right. But I mean,
with you.
I've been fortunate, Barry. I love what I do. I love what I do. So it's never been work, for me.
See, I learned something new, Barry, today. Was that I always thought the reason why he stayed in business all these years was because he served tripe on Saturdays.
Well, that's part of it. I didn't mention that? Too bad we didn't have a bowl here to show.
I once asked Lee what his favorite meal was, and I think you said it was the fish or something. Tripe. Yeah, it was.
Tripe. You know what tripe is, Barry? You don't know?
No.
You're going to have a bowl Saturday. A lot of people think it's fish. No, it's the lining of a cow's stomach. And it's just a little bit of a interesting point here.
Yeah.
It's poor people's food.
Yeah.
In China, Japan, you have rice. In Italy, you have pasta, and back then, tripe, the lining of the cow's stomach, was a throwaway item. They threw it away. And the poor Italian people learned how to cook it and make it taste good. So it's a stew. And I tell you, you put a steak in front of me or a bowl of tripe, I'm going for the tripe.
I come here almost every Saturday.
Yeah,
have
he's here every Saturday.
When I was growing up in this neighborhood, Barry, there was about 6 or 7 establishments that served tripe.
They all had it, yeah.
And now Lee is really the last one.
Pretty
Columbus
much.
Hall does
Columbus Hall has
seasonally, but Lee is really the last restaurant that serves tripe.
Do you remember some of the places? The Bordeghese. We had Bordeghese, and what was across from Union House was
Freddie Bonaldi's.
Bonaldi's, and
they all served tripe. There were 6 or 7 places.
Wow.
It was wild, but anyways.
I have an off-the-wall story that comes out of here. We walked in here one night, and I think it was your 65th anniversary.
Yep.
And you had music. You had
entertainment.
A group.
Yeah.
And I listened, and I come from the music business, and I listened. Elaine and I were having dinner, and I said, "This is not a run-of-the-mill group." Her name was Pamela Hines. I don't even know if you remember.
I do. Yeah,
right?
I do. Yeah.
I ended up hiring her for a high school, a Newton High reunion.
Yeah.
I've become friendly with her. She is a well-known jazz pianist. I've seen her down in Nick's down in Worcester.
Nice.
And it all came out. Somebody said, "Where did you find her?" I said, you won't believe it. La Cantina was, I think it was a 65th. I
Yeah,
think it was your 65th
yeah.
thing. And we were waiting to get seated, and the music is wafting over there. So thank you for Pamela Hines.
Well, you know, my history, you know, when I was a young guy in business and starting out fresh out of the military, you know, I ran a nightclub and music, so the entertainment field has been in my blood. But I want to maybe get a little plug in here for March 5th.
Okay.
The first time we're venturing into this. We're going to do a murder mystery dinner. Yeah. So, you know, we've already contracted that, and now I'm going to have to sell the tickets and so forth.
That'll be upstairs?
Be upstairs. It'll be a great... So I'm trying to...
That's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to use that room as much as I can.
Yeah, because if it's dark, it's not making you any money.
That's right. January, February, and it's not that crazy.
So March 5th, get your ticket. Where can we get the tickets? Right here.
Call La Cantina. Yeah.
Call La Cantina, and they're going to have a murder mystery dinner.
Yeah. Margot, Keith and Margot's, I guess they're all over the place.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Pretty
But you know what?
interesting.
Wherever these people perform, I can't even remember, but we were at one of them one time. It was fabulous.
Oh, yeah, they do a great job.
They do a terrific job.
They involve everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, you know.
And sometimes you determine the outcome of who did the killings and stuff like that. Yeah. At the end, it's a vote.
That's what my wife is hoping for.
Yeah. Jeez. We were talking menu. The salad dressing and the sauce. It's different than any place. And if I had it, you know, what comes to mind, the tomato sauce, which I happen to love, and I go to, there are other Italian restaurants that you go to. I don't find it as good as your sauce, and also the salad dressing is, which you market as a product, although you market the sauce also, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Can I get up for a minute and show you right behind us?
Yeah.
Because we have it.
As long as you don't choke yourself on a microphone.
Oh, yeah. Because you know I'm a salesman. And I don't think we have any sauce, any jars of the sauce, but
you market it.
Yeah, it's not as prevalent out in the marketplace as these are. Yeah. But again, Barry, I can only speak to my four walls when you ask me about the sauce, for instance.
It's great.
It's what we've done. It takes close to 5 hours every morning. We make it fresh. I don't know what other places do, but you know that's what we do. And it's a good product. You know?
It's the same formula that your mother and father used.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this dressing, the original, was my mother's original recipe, which was talked into trying bottling it almost 20 years ago now. So and that's worked out okay. You know, it's worked out. Since then, we've come out with a couple of other products. But.
We're coming near to the end of the segment. Dennis, any other comments or questions? I know your daughter used to work here.
My daughter worked here for a time when she was in college.
Yeah. Miss her, and we miss her.
She was a great waitress here.
Yeah.
I just.
Do you have Addie working here yet?
No, not yet. No, she's not in the payroll yet. But she comes here often. She loves the sauce too. Yeah. But you know, I just remember this growing up in this community, and you know, a stone's throw away from here. And it was really a hotbed for neighborhood to come in. You see the same people today. Yeah. Some of the same people that
I always bump into somebody.
Yeah, it's a real hotbed for the neighborhood and people who grew up in this neighborhood that come here still religiously, even though they may not live in the neighborhood anymore. Yeah. It's been a real magnet for that. And I just want to get rid of these. Thank Lee for everything he's done for Framingham. As I said, the Framingham Public Schools, as well as the police station that he donated the building for. We have a
talk about that.
The Dennis Giambetti substation.
I brought it up.
Yeah, you know, but it is interesting. Right across the street, in the middle of a parking lot, which Lee uses for obviously his customers, they built a Framingham police substation. That it's either your land or your building. Or I don't know. I don't know the.
It was a AAA barbershop before,
right?
And they then bought another building and moved out. And it was vacant.
Yeah.
And when the funny story was that Lee was doing the renovation, we happened to be sitting at the bar one night. Remember, Lee?
Yeah.
And I said to Lee, "Geez, what are you doing with the building across the street?" He said, "I'm going to tear it down." I said, "Geez, would you think about making it a substation for the police, a community policing station? He said, geez, I think that's a good idea. And then we kind of talked.
Great
He got in connection with the chief, Kyle and Chief Ferguson, and Lee made it happen.
Are you sure you don't want to run for selectman? Oh no, you've been there, done that. Been there, done it.
But it really was a great, because Lee donates the building to the town. It was wonderful.
I think, it worked hand in hand. Town's been good to me over the years. You know, we've been here a long time. It's been a good place to do business.
Lee,
and it's the way it should be. So
we are so delighted to be invited back and to have you on and to promote what you do, because you do good things for good people.
Oh,
and
thank you for that.
always have done that, and you're very. I mean, we walk in and Lee will come right over and you know, and greet you, and which is what you say.
And then he counts his fingers.
Yeah, not bad. He only lost 2 the last time. But we want to make sure we promote this March 5th mystery dinner that we're having in the new digs, and you got to see the new digs. They are amazing. We're going to do some cutaways and show you as we're talking here. We'll show you the new facility, and to you know, to all our viewers out there, we want to give you a little bit of a treat. All of our shows now are going to be on FraminghamTV.com. They'll be on demand. So if you go to FraminghamTV.com, and I guess you can pick and choose your shows, you can see us wherever, whenever, however. And so we're delighted to come to you each and every month with a different type of show. We've very interesting this month. We've had the Depot, Deluxe Depot Diner. We've had Jack Abbey's, who is again, it's a brewery, but they're sliding into a pub type restaurant that they'll do probably either the end of this year or sometime next year. And then the venerable Lee Mencaboni and La Cantina, where you always feel like you're coming home. So, Dennis, I want to thank you again.
Thank you, Barry.
And I want to thank Dennis for setting up actually all 3 of the interviews, the 3 segments that we did, along with Ron Rigo and Anthony and Steve and all the crew that puts all this together. Again, this is Barry Bograd saying, join us again next month for another Framingham Today.